Give me other examples, a couple other examples of sin.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure what sin is?
I'm not sure.
Transgender people are now in the mix. And they want, if a man feels like a woman, he wants to go into the woman's bathroom. If a woman feels like a man, they want to be able to go into the men's bathroom. Is that right? Should that be allowed?
So I think a couple thoughts about what you said. I don't think that transgender people are now in the mix. I think transgender people have always been around. I think they've been around throughout history. And I think the reality is people want to pass a law saying, oh, hey, like, we need to stop people from going into the bathroom that we're determining they shouldn't be in. But the reality is you're already using the men's bathroom with people who are transgender, just like people are already using women's bathrooms with people who are transgender. So is it right? I think that people should be able to use the bathroom that they want to use.
So you're saying, yes, if a man decides that he feels like a woman, you know, he's at a football game, had a couple beers, and he said, you know what, I'm going into the ladies' bathroom. I feel like a woman right now. He should be able to go into that bathroom. He has a right.
I don't want to be combative, but I'm not going to answer questions that describe people in ways in which they're not. And somebody who is transgender is not just someone who feels like a woman on a particular day because they've had a few beers. I think that's disrespectful to transgender people. And so I'm not going to describe people in a way that is not accurate because I wouldn't want people to describe me.
So let's say that you have men who feel like women and they're dressing in women's clothing. They're identified as a transgender, full-fledged person. Should they be allowed to go into the bathroom of choice?
If I am a person who is transgender and I feel more comfortable and I feel more safe using whichever bathroom, then I should be able to use that bathroom.
And so the straight person doesn't have a choice in that, or say so. If they don't want that because they feel imposed upon, or let's say that my daughter is going into the women's bathroom, but here is a transgender man who feels like a woman going into that same bathroom, do I have a right to say, no, this is not going to happen for the protection and the privacy of my daughter?
Your daughter has already used
the bathroom
not the
question. That's
with
not the question.
Transgender.
Answer that question. Should that be allowed if I'm against that for my daughter?
Your daughter, and the thing is, in order for me to answer questions, you can't interrupt me. And I know that's been tough for you throughout this, but like I can't answer your questions if you interrupt me when I'm answering them. I don't know what your daughter does in the bathroom, but when I go to the bathroom, I have to pee or something else. And so I go into the bathroom, I go into the stall, I shut the door. And so what I'm doing in the bathroom isn't imposing on anyone else. It's taking care of my bodily function.
If it's a man who dressed like a woman and my daughter is in that bathroom, this man, he may have in his own mind think that he's a woman when in reality he's still a man. I have a right to say, no, I'm not going to allow this to happen. And the transgender person doesn't have a right to impose on that. Because that's what the radical movement, homosexual movement is about, is freedom, right? And non-discrimination.
For the third time, I don't know what a radical homosexual is.
Should transgender people be fighting for transgenders' bathrooms rather than imposing on straight people?
Should black people be fighting for black bathrooms?
It's not the same thing.
But
it's a put down to associate being black with homosexuality.
Well,
it's a disgrace to black people who have died, black and whites who fought for the freedom of black Americans based on skin color.
It's
a put down to do that.
One of the great African American, one of my great role models, Audre Lorde, said something to the impact of there's no such thing as single issue struggles because we're not single issue people.
It's not a sin to be black, but it is a sin to be a homosexual because you can overcome homosexuality, but you cannot overcome being black. Just ask Michael Jackson. He never was able to overcome.
I think that I don't think that most people are actually trying to overcome their homosexuality. And I think if we're actually looking at what these laws do, they are about so much more than bathrooms. It's about denying people public access. It's about jobs. It's about employment discrimination. It's about
none of that is true.
It is true.
What it is, in reality, homosexual people, especially the radical ones, are not comfortable with being homosexuals, and they don't want anything or anybody around them to remind them that they're wrong. And so that's why they're trying to impose themselves on Christian bakers and same bathroom, because they can't handle being wrong.
Are you homosexual?
No, but all sin create conflict.
But hold on. But if you're not homosexual, then you can't speak for a group of people.
I know what sin does for you. It creates conflict.
But you can't. I feel great being gay.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I feel fantastic.
You really don't.
I feel fantastic. I've had a smile on my face the whole time. I might be happier than you. I'm young. I'm successful. I own a home. I found somebody I love. I have a great degree. I feel great. I've in no way. I have not felt like I need to overcome anything.
The one thing I can absolutely guarantee you, with all the successes that you've been able to gain, when you're alone by yourself, when no one is around to validate you, you're not being praised for your successes, reality kicks in, and you have conflict about being a homosexual. You're not happy with it. I don't care what you say. I know for a fact that that happens. But I want to ask you about this.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
No, you're not disappointing.
I absolutely don't. I strive to be the person that I want to be a good person, to treat other people well, and to do things that help other people. I could go be a lawyer and make thousands of dollars.
Because the whole movement is about imposing on heterosexual people.
But that's not true.
It is.
And it is not only is it homophobic, but it is sexist for you as a man to tell me as a woman that I'm not
falling for that. Don't go there with me. That's not going to work.
That I'm not smart enough to know how I feel in my darkest, quietest moments.
You're not honest about the conflict.
But if you told me this is how I feel, I would respect you enough as a person to say, okay, I believe you, because you have no reason to lie to me.
No. I know how sin works. And when we are living in sin, we have no peace. That's why we have to always find things to do.
But I don't feel as though I'm living in sin. I'm being open and honest with myself.
Okay, I accept it.